What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the best Stasis Warlock build in Destiny 2. This setup will harness the chilling power of the Stasis to destroy the enemies by slowing, freezing and shattering even the biggest crowds of adds for incredible crowd control. The main key of this build is the osmiomancy gloves that will grant us additional coldsnap grenade and reduce its cooldown on direct impact. So pretty much we will be able to use these OP grenades 24/7. Although the Stasis build requires specific gear and mods to really shine, however, once completed it will offer unparalleled control and you will destroy any enemy that crosses your path. So let's take a look at our setup. For our super, we're using the Winter's Wrath. This super ability will conjure a Stasis staff and fire a barrage of shards that freeze enemies on impact. And overall it is amazing for add control but not for boss damage. Next we have our abilities, and for the first one we have the Healing Rift. This skill will heal you and your teammates while standing inside the radius. However, when you are at full HP, this will be converted to a shield, so you want to use this frequently to generate the grenade energy with our bomber mods. Next we have the Burst Glide. Your jump ability is up to you, but for me personally I found that the Burst Glide works the best. Next we have Penumbral Blast. This ability will send out a short-range projectile that applies freeze to the targets. You will want to use your melee frequently to generate grenade energy with the Impact Induction mod. And finally we have the Coldsnap grenade. This is the only grenade ability that interacts with our osmiomancy gloves, and as our build is structured around it, so the skill is a must-have. This ability can either way be thrown as a grenade or can be also charged up to create a Bleak Watcher turret, which I will explain in just a second. Next up we have the aspects. For the first one we are going with the Glacial Harvest. When we freeze targets it will create a Stasis shards. Collecting these shards will grant us melee energy, that in return generates grenade energy with the Impact Induction. We can collect Stasis shards and gain up to 5 Frost Armor stacks, which provides us with 22.5% damage resistance at max stacks. And then for the second one we have the Bleak Watcher. This will charge your Coldsnap grenade to convert it into a Stasis turret, which then will fire projectiles that apply slow on impact. If enough of these projectiles land, then the target is frozen as well. If you are good enough, then these turrets can lock down an entire room. However, it will take some time to get perfect execution to have all of the 8 turrets going on at the same time. Next we have Fragments. My first choice is the Whisper of the Fissures. This one will make that all of our frozen targets and Stasis crystals deal increased shatter damage. Next we have the Whisper of the Shards. This will create a Stasis crystal with a headstone. If we shatter a Stasis crystal, it will grant us 500% additional base grenade regeneration rate. Also, additional time can be added to this buff for every crystal shattered, which will cap at 11 seconds. Then also we are using the Whisper of the Torment. This will give us a grenade ability energy every time you take damage from the enemy targets. The amount is increased when you have Frost Armor, which is easy to earn on this build by picking up the Stasis shards that I mentioned just a second ago. And finally, for the last one we have the Whisper of the Conduction. This will make that the nearby Stasis shards will track to your location, so it's much easier to utilize them. Then next up we have our required gear, and for this build we need to use the osmiomancy gloves. This will provide us with additional Coldsnap grenade charge, and direct impact from your grenades will also increase the grenade ability regeneration, and on top of this, the Seekers spawned from the Coldsnap will travel further and faster. However, you will need the Witch Queen DLC to unlock this exotic armor piece, and if you have it, then you can find this by either way completing the Witch Queen campaign on the legendary difficulty. Then also you can farm the Expert Lost sector on the Arms Armor days, and they also can be found by completing the Vex Strike Force public event. Next up we have the armor mods, and for the helmet we want to use the Harmonic Siphon, Heavy Ammo Finder and the Special Ammo Finder. Then for gloves get Grenade Kickstar, Impact Induction and the Momentum Transfer. Then for chest get the Charged Up, Consecutive Dampener and Void Reserves. Additionally, on your chest you can replace the consecutive dampener with the appropriate resistance for the specific activity that you are trying to do. Then for legs go with the innervation, stacks on stacks and recuperation. And finally for our class item get the distribution, bomber and the reaper. In short, armor mods are unlocked by progressing through your guardian rank. and you can check out my mods guide in this video's description. Then as far as weapons go, we want to prioritize weapons with the demolitionist trait. Glaives, shotguns, sniper rifles and fusion rifles will give us 20% grenade ability regeneration on kill, while on every other weapon we will get only 10%. So my recommendation for the kinetic weapon is the bolt endings. This is one of the few weapons that can roll or be crafted with the demolitionist and the headstone, both which generate grenade energy. You will need to shatter a stasis crystal from the headstone to activate the Whisper of the Shards, and to get this weapon you need access to the Final Shape DLC. Then for energy weapon we are using the forthcoming deviants. In addition to demolitionist, this glaive rolls or can be crafted with destabilizing rounds, which synergize perfectly with our stasis turrets. Also, our kills will apply the volatile trait to the surrounding enemies, and further damage will result in a big explosion. So to get this weapon you need access to the Final Shape DLC, and you can farm it from the Salvation's Edge raid. And then finally for the power weapon, we have the Leviathan's Breath. This is a very heavy exotic bow, which is great against bosses and also stuns unstoppable champions. You'll need the access to the Shadow Key pack to unlock this bow. Next we have stats, and our main stat priority is resilience, then discipline, then recovery, and then everything else. Resilience is the most crucial stat to focus on, so that's why we want to aim for 100 resilience to maximize our damage resistance and shield capacity, which will ensure better survivability in super hard fights. Next we have discipline, and this will decrease the cooldown on your grenade ability, which allows it to charge faster, thus increasing our damage even further. And finally we have the recovery, because it impacts the cooldown on the Warlock's class ability and decreases the time it takes to regenerate your health and shields. Then for one of the last things we have the artifact perks. So first off we have the one with the frost. While frost armor is active, our stasis weapons will gain increased reload speed and stability. Second we have the Feel the Revenant. This will deal increased weapon damage to the Scorn. Next we have Total Carnage. This will give us a damage resistance when we finish off our enemies. Next we have the Debilitating Wave. If we finish an enemy, then he will emit a damaging stasis wave. I recommend to work towards unlocking the boost for this artifact perk, as this will also give us a slow effect with the wave itself. Then for one of the last ones we have the Brain Freeze. So this will make it that our frozen enemies become surrounded by chilling fog, which will slow all targets that aren't already. And then finally we have Served Cold. When we pick up a stasis shard, it will give us a class ability energy. And now finally we have come to the gameplay. So we want to start our DPS rotation by charging our coldsnap grenade to throw out a Bleak Watcher turret that shoots projectiles at enemies and inflicts slow. If a target is hit by enough of these projectiles, then they will get frozen. Next, when they are heavily damaged, after a while all frozen enemies will shatter, which will deal additional damage all around them. Also, by us using the Whisper of the Fissures, this will increase the size and damage of this blast even further. So then when that happens we want to use our Healing Rift to stand our ground and reduce the grenade cooldown with our Bomber mod. On top of this will also activate our Reaper mod. Next we want to get at least a double kill by using the bolt endings, which will drop orbs of power. This will give your armor charge stacks before you throw out your next grenade, which then will trigger a grenade kickstar, so always be on the lookout for the orbs to pick up. Next we also want to use the coldsnap grenades in between our stasis turrets. We want to throw these grenades into groups of enemies to instantly freeze and chain to one another. And on top of this, the direct damage will recharge grenades quicker, thanks to our osmiomancy gloves. Then afterwards we want to defeat enemies with the demolitionist weapons to generate even more grenade energy. Precision kills with the headstone will spawn the stasis crystals, and shattering these will increase the grenade energy regeneration from the Whisper of the Shards, which will enable us to continue throwing out Bleak Watchers and the coldsnap grenade. Then also we want to shoot forthcoming deviants into a group of enemies. Final blows with the destabilizing rounds will make the rest of our group volatile, and further damage from the Bleak Watcher turrets will cause the volatile targets to explode. And finally, while your turrets are beaming the enemy, try to apply the freeze with its primary attack, and shatter all surrounding frozen targets with a secondary attack, and that's about it. So if you enjoyed this video, click like, subscribe and comment. If you are interested in more content, then check out my channel and I will see you in the next one. So take it easy, peace.